There's a man on the west side of Michigan who says his local township shut down his farm, stopped him from doing business. I'm going to have that interview in just a few seconds. But go ahead and click the link right down there. There should be a link to sign up to my locals community, to support my independent journalism. Imagine Facebook with no censorship. That's what locals is. Click that link. Now here's my story. And hello, everyone. How you doing? It's Dave Bondy. Joining me, Ben Martin. Someone tagged me on his fan page, and I found out about this story. It's on the west side of the state. I'm obviously over in Saginaw County, Michigan. But, Ben, your story is really, it's a long story. It's complicated, but it really does come down to what you're saying, government overreach. Really, that's what it is.
Yeah, nothing short of it. It's been a little over a year.
So let's get into it, and I may need to have you talk a little louder, or just because I'm there, or get a little closer. Okay, so let me put up on the screen. This is your property is this Comstock Township?
Yep, Comstock Township. It's in
Okay, so
Kalamazoo, but our township is Comstock Township.
Okay, so explain what your business is, what you do.
We are a small farm. We make hard cider. We grow pumpkins, mixed vegetables. We make value-added products like homemade chips and salsa. We make our own donuts. We have a taco truck where we grow ingredients for the taco truck, and then we ferment hard cider on our farm. The goal of the hard cider is to support other local farms, as well as we also grow some of the inputs. So we have cider on tap at times when we're kind of allowed, when we're allowed. And then we have a canned product line of ciders in the marketplace.
Wow. How long have you been doing this on that property?
We bought our farm in 2015.
2015. Okay. So from 2015 until last year, life was doing good. Things were growing every year. Everything was normal.
Yeah, we've been chipping away at the bit, and of course, growing vegetables. You got early vegetables. There's just so many vegetables as a small farm that you can grow. And if you love growing tomatoes, which I really love growing tomatoes, you can only grow so many tomatoes that you can market. So within reason of growing these things and getting people to come and buy them, and then a mixture of how do you have a market, but then have off-premise sales as well. So for the last couple of years, we've been really focusing on how do you get families to visit the farm, and then they get to have a cider while they're there, donuts. Their kids get to enjoy the farm, visit with the animals, interact, and then we take a small farm and make products for sale. Different value added. So how does a small farm have a value added product instead of focusing on selling all commodities, and directly marketed to the consumer approach of people visit our family farm and come on site and interact with us, meet our kids, animals, and dogs and other family members.
Was this from today, this picture?
I believe that was Saturday.
Oh, Saturday, yeah. So this is a really cool place. You must be really, really popular. People really love coming here, I'm assuming.
It's taken since 2015. We have been, giving it our all. And of course, as first generation farmers, there's some things that Mother Nature does that we do. It's a learning curve. And so over the years, we've raised our kids on the farm, and we've just, kind of get in where you fit in type of thing. It's like, what works good for us? And then over the years of all the things that we've done, like, okay, let's not have let's get rid of the things that don't work, and let's do more of the things that do work and put it all together, make something really good. And a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you make a good experience, and our goal is good quality products.
Yeah. And you are an entrepreneur, you're doing your own business. That's what everyone should want. But things kind of changed a little bit about a year ago.
Yes. Yep. October 16th, 2022.
Okay, October 16th, 2022. That's when things changed. What changed on that day?
Our brand new pole barn that we were using for a wine tasting and a farm market. Was
Right here, I'm going to bring it up. This is it right here in the picture.
Yep, that was condemned. We were notified by the township in 2022 about special events and weddings, and that we needed to seek special exemption. And we said, no problem. We'll, look forward to working with you in the future. Started looking for an engineer, hired an engineer per what we were recommended to do to find feasibility of the building. If instead of applying for special exemption, let's see about the building to see if it's even feasible. So when we did that, we submitted the drawings, and we received documentation that, hey, drawings look good.
No.
The affidavit for accepted occupancy is acceptable. Please note a couple things, and so 1 minute the engineering and the drawings that we had were good, and we're working. This is what we are. This is what we want to become, and on the way to becoming that, then the barn got condemned. We got accused of having a wedding without having a wedding.
Was it already finished and built and it was done?
Yes, it was originally an agricultural building that we were using for agricultural purposes, such as the farm market, the wine tasting.
I want to show people the inside. This is the inside. It's beautiful. So it was like this. It was ready to go when they condemned it.
Yeah, it was just like that. That was actually the picture that triggered the condemnation off. We posted that picture welcoming the public to our farm market, and there'd been other pictures prior of the farm market building, and then that triggered them to come and condemn it. And when it was condemned, I was essentially told it was an unlawful assembly not licensed for food, music, or alcohol. Although
you were licensed, though, you said, right?
Correct.
So you were licensed by the State Liquor Commission? Is that what they are?
Yep. The Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
So you were licensed by them, and you were able to sell food as well, right?
Correct. We have a MDARD food establishment license.
Okay. So what was their reason for condemning? Were they nitpicking the building, or what was did they give it in writing, like in a reason?
Essentially the commercial building code, which I was kind of informed that because if we weren't doing agricultural activities, that it would be, essentially we were explained that non-agricultural things like a wedding or a private event would require such changes, which would be the need for the engineering and what we were working on. So,
okay.
In documentation, of being told the things that we need to do for an event barn, wedding barn, and as we told them we would continue operations as is, nothing came about of that they want the same changes for a farm stand, farm market as a wedding venue.
But you had never had a wedding in there, though.
Never had a wedding.
But that's what they said. Okay, so when was that? August of 2022?
October
of 2022. Okay, so can you then still keep doing your other business and everything else you're doing, or did that shut down everything?
No, we kept going. We finished out the season, but then the early December, from a November court hearing with an informal hearing with the magistrate, he said, well, you have an alcohol license, you have a food license, and your alcohol license allows musical instruments while selling alcohol. Sounds like you have a grandfather issue. And I thought, well, hey, yeah, clearly we have the license. Yeah. So it said that I would need an informal hearing, but then I got a letter in the mail, in one of the line items was defendant shall not own or operate a business on the subject property. And then court stipulations that we were not allowed to sell anything. I was not allowed to sell eggs, cider, pumpkins, Christmas trees, no hay rides.
Is that when they put up this? I'm looking at it, their Comstock Facebook page. They really kind of, it looks like they went after you. Is this when they put this up?
Right. Yeah. Right around that time frame. early December, I was forced to close my business if I
Yeah,
didn't identify a court order. Although I
and
knew
they
it was wrong, I
yeah, in here it says they claim that you were launching a public media campaign to discredit the township.
Yeah, I was telling the truth. I have 4 kids under the age of 12, and we've worked really hard to build our business and our products and do the things well that we do. And if I'm not going to stick up for myself, who's gonna?
Yeah, exactly. And as I read this, it's really long and it's somewhat kind of confusing. I'm trying to look for, they're going a lot after you in this, but I'm trying to look for the reason as to why they did what they did. And it just says it's a result of customer complaints.
I'd
But
like to see who that one, who complained. That would be a good question to ask.
yeah, so this happened, and that was in December of last year. And where'd you go? How long did you go without being able to do nothing?
Oh, and into spring, winter, spring, weeks and weeks and weeks of the
Wow.
changing. You're zoned for wine making and wine tasting, but not cider making and cider tasting. Well, silly, you forgot to Google that they're the same.
Yeah. So
Just
you were not making, you have a whole family, you have children. You weren't bringing in any money then because you weren't able to do any of this.
no, no, we were forced to close.
So you were closed. So you're that's your livelihood, right? This is your business.
Yeah, that we've worked for years. And before 2015, we rented farmland and grew vegetables and had a farm stand business. And we chose to move to Comstock specifically because we had a prior rented piece of land where we dealt with a 2014 right to farm issue where that township essentially told us that we were not allowed to have a greenhouse on agriculturally zoned land. And we knew that the Right to Farm Act protected farmers. And it did. We went to court for it and we were able to keep our greenhouses on that agricultural land. But it was a small 1 acre, somebody else owned it. So we decided to move to our own farm and away from problems of such. And
What did they, sorry to interrupt, because I know it's difficult. What did they want? Like in December, when they posted this on Facebook, what did they want you to do to make life go back to normal? Did they have demands of you?
whew, that's a good question.
Was it kind of unknown really what they were
Oh yeah,
after?
we were filing motions with the court to lift the ban on the property, but the courts weren't really wanting to work through that process. So everything was very slow and gruesome. It just took a
Wow.
long time, and it was a lot of kicking the can down the road. So we filed a writ for superintending control, and then that kind of took it from district court to circuit court. And when that did that, things were getting serious. So we agreed to work with the township over a 3-phase resolution process. That
Okay, kind of an agreement. You came together like, okay, let's resolve this.
right, let's not fight about it. Let's work it
Yeah.
out. But it was court ordered to be processed in good faith without undue delay. And
Okay.
it's not been worked out, and it's tons of delay. Like we're still not done.
Even so, right now, December. We're in December, and it still has not been agreed upon or finalized by them. They're stalling.
Yeah, the answer just changes all the time. It's a moving target. You're not zoned for this, but you're zoned for this. Um,
That doesn't sound like that's in good faith.
now, yeah, exactly. Phone calls, just different. Boy, my best is sabotage tactics of going after our business to try to take our revenue streams by making complaints to other agencies to kind of go at us at our licenses. I mean, it was direct. I mean,
So you were able at some point. You were able to start doing like Christmas tree, the site. You're able to start doing things except activities in the barn, right? So now you can do everything except anything in the barn.
yep. So through working it out, although it really wasn't in good faith and as quickly as it didn't need to be this complicated, but we were able to finally, after just shy of a year, get back to making cider, selling cider, food, everything. Not much changed, but a bunch of kicking the can down the road. But now we're back to doing what we could do before. You know,
Yeah, and you put a lot of money into this barn, and basically it's not making you any money. It's just sitting there empty.
right. At one point for manufacturing, at one point for both manufacturing and customers coming into the barn. And then we, although had a court order, but then somehow there was disagreement with the township for us to even manufacture in that barn. We weren't able to use it for either. And to have a product in the marketplace that, you're licensed to be able to manufacture the product, but you're kind of caught in the middle of something that ain't right. That's a lot of investment. We have pneumatic canner fermentation tanks. I mean, we've got a really nice winery operation. We manufacture hard cider.
So
So
as of now, you have this nice newer barn, and you can, due to the township, you're not able to do anything in this. You couldn't even have just people go in there and socialize and hang out.
no, and we've tried to take the routes of getting drawings and submit them for the barn, but for some reason the requirements are not satisfactory and they're moving up the ladder and becoming more stringent. So if
So,
the
so they keep changing. This is kind of ridiculous because let's say I wanted to build a shed in my yard. I go to the township. Okay, you got to do this, this, and that. I do it. We're good. It sounds like with this, they keep changing the rules.
constantly, it's hard for the engineers to keep up with it. And like then you talk to an engineer and then you talk to your attorney and then uh, it's just like money being spent but nothing getting done. No, we're not getting anywhere. Like
So
we're,
that,
we're
that's why, and I'm going to bring it up. I think I have. That's why you had no choice, and that's why it's in America. We have the courts. So, and I know this is costing you money probably, but you had to file a lawsuit, right? You didn't have to, but I mean, you kind of do.
yeah, we have no remedy. We have nowhere to go to be able to have a place to merchandise our products that we make on our farm in the cider that we're licensed to be able to have people come in and taste. We need to be able to utilize the infrastructure on our small farm. And by every regard, we're being blocked the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And and we're not being rebels. I'm trying to get away with something. Like
No, you seem like you're a really nice guy and you're just a hard worker. So, what I'm looking at here, this is a federal lawsuit against individuals, against the Comstock Township. Basically, you are asking for what?
well, a jury trial. I mean, we want to be heard and we want to go through all of these complaints here and I mean, what's going on?
Well, what's the long term goal is you've just filed this federal lawsuit. Is the goal just to get your life back to normal and running a business? That's pretty it, right?
Yeah, we want to not be blocked from being able to lawfully run our family farm and have a farm market, a winery tasting room, an ability to use what we have as a farm and improve our business.
Is are you learning a lot about? I know licensing and regulations are Michigan is so messed up in many instances, but it's did the township did they abuse the law? They kind of
Oh
or
yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, the Michigan Liquor Control Commission in Michigan has the sole right, power, and duty to regulate alcohol traffic within the state of Michigan. And
and you have a license with them.
and I am willing to work with them and do work with them on anything that we need to do. We'll do it.
So you don't have a problem with them. They're good. You're cool with them.
Yep. We're being told that we need to work it out with the locals. But as far as anything that they need from us, we're good.
Usually it's the other way around. Sometimes it's tough with the liquor control, but
And more than a pleasure, in fact.
yeah.
To work and learn, and we want to do a good job. We want to have a brand in the marketplace, a product for sale, like, that's the whole goal.
Emailed Comstock Township. They told me the same thing they've told others. Matt Miller, thank you for reaching out. We have no comment, which is typical when a lawsuit is filed. I know he's one of the individuals named in the lawsuit. So yeah, basically you are wanting to be able to run your business like you want, and I'm assuming hopefully maybe get back the law, because you've taken a big hit probably.
Oh, yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, because I don't know how COVID hit you, but it hurt businesses. You probably got hit from when COVID happened. I'm assuming that hurt your business, maybe.
Yeah, no doubt. You don't really know if you grow a bunch of decorative pumpkins and a bunch of stuff. Are people really needing pumpkins that year?
Yeah, yeah.
So we did set that year out on growing pumpkins and kind of recarving the farm and taking that opportunity of the way of the world to see where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do. And as we tailored our focus and really made the investment and in just a tremendous amount of drive to get to where we were at the point of this happening. At one point we were told that our business had grown past their expectations. And
that should be a good thing.
tremendously. This is what I went to school for. I studied food and consumer packaging, and I loved growing vegetables and produce. And so, my background on studying and putting a product in the marketplace with the dynamic of agriculture that's what I'm into.
Yeah, so it doesn't really make sense when you tell this story to people. Did they shake their head and like, I don't understand what's really going on? It's not cut and dry, really. It doesn't. And I wish the township would have talked to me and made sense of it, but I gave them a chance. It doesn't seem right.
I for the last year, I literally spend a good more than a third, sometimes to a half of my day calling different places and people in for the last year or more than a year. I've like been working. It's a full-time job just in and of itself of what I've been trying to do to try to like rectify to figure out like what do you do. And I'm the person, I get stuff done. I like that. I like continuous improvement, moving my business forward. So that's the goal, and to be obstructed to be able to do that. Oh boy, it's really tough.
What's the support the community? I saw on the Facebook a lot of people were asking the township what violations, who's complaining. Are you getting a lot of people that are supporting, have your back?
Oh yeah, it's great. We're really fortunate. But to be honest with you, when that letter came out, my wife and I had to kind of, there's just so much hearsay. That letter really alleged like that we were, purposely not following the rules and not zoned and doing a bunch of things that we're not supposed to where customers had signs at their stores like, hey, right now for this period of time, we're not accepting deliveries from you guys. Like we're kind of
because of this letter. So because of this letter, when that put on Facebook,
yeah.
that scared away some businesses.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, big deal things that we had lined up going on, put that on pause, and then so it really affected new things to come. But customers that we had, it didn't help. It was not very fun to deal with.
So yeah, they claim you discredited the township, but you allege by doing this, they then came after you, hurting your business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would
stuff in that letter? There's no merit to it. It mentions that we're not a recognized farm market, but we passed our farm market GAMS inspection, and we are licensed and approved. It's like telling me I'm not approved for this license, but I got the license. And it's like, well, wait a second. How did I get the license?
I've been working in television. I worked as a journalist for 25 years. I have never seen a township write something like this and post it publicly. This is really, for them to tell me they have no comment. That's a joke, because they had a lot to comment on this letter.
Yeah, when I was getting ran over unlawfully to write that. Oh, I mean that's pretty rough.
And this is part of the lawsuit, right? That this it was just part of it, how they did hurt the business.
That stuff is not factual. There's no merit to it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this is evidence now that you by your lawyer. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up, but can people do anything to help? I mean, just continue to come to your in business, and because people like supporting local business. What can people do to help?
I think what I've learned from this is like we're all fast to jump to conclusion.
Yeah.
So that's what's really appreciated about your work is you're able to kind of, there's two sides to every story. But then you look at somebody who wants to do a good job, and then you're like, well, wait a second, how are they so stuck? So instead of just jumping to conclusion like, hey, they must not be following the rules, it's like, well, what's more behind it? Like, there's people willing to do the work, willing to do what's needed within reason, but then not being able to do it. You just can't do that to people. To block use of their and
sorry. Does this make you lose faith in government a little bit?
well,
or maybe just this incident, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, it doesn't help.
Yeah. Is there, has this happened to anyone else in that area? Have you heard of any other situations?
Yeah, I personally went and watched it with other business owners that I felt, in my opinion, there was some sort of judgment towards them, and they didn't, like, if they don't want that, they're not willing to work. Like, I watched one young man like plead, like, what do I need to do? Can you guys tell me what I need to do? But then nobody can tell them what they need to do. And that's what my wife and I felt that a lot. Like, can somebody tell me what to do?
You just wanted to know. You just wanted to tell me and I'll do it.
Within reason. But then when it changes and
that's
it just is so cobbled, nobody knows what to do. You hire professionals and it's just terribly confusing. It doesn't need to be that complicated.
Okay, well, what's the next step? This is probably, I know how courts go and it takes a while, but what's the next step? Do we know what the next step is?
I would say we just keep making our products and doing the best with what we've got. And
what about court? What about the courts? The courts work slowly usually.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not antsy. I mean, it's going to take its time. I know that's part of it.
So, would it be? I think. Are you hoping this is a wake up call to them and say, "Hey, this is a serious issue," and to have some compassion? You're not a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You're a family. You're a family. That's all you are. You're not Walmart. You're not Home Depot. You're a family.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 4 children under the age of 12. This is what we've decided to do with our business, and then to be able to not be able to grow our business is very serious.
And still to this day, it doesn't sound like you have a good reason or evidence as to what you really did wrong. It sounds like even after a year, you still don't know exactly.
Yeah, you wonder like what starts something like this, and then to drag it on as far and as long as there's just more to it than we can come to understand. Frank.
Last question. What do you say to the average, if this can happen to you, the average person, before all this happened, you probably thought you'd never be going through this, but I guess it should serve a lesson to, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Growing our business, moving forward, like seeing the momentum of all the years, and then all of a sudden, just like a bomb breaks loose, and then nothing makes any sense anymore, and then you're like growing, moving, and then boom, and then you
And then
can't.
randomly one day, the government comes in, they condemn you out of the blue, everything's going fine, you're building up to this point, and then one day they come in and condemn your business basically, and just what you're thinking, what happened?
Yeah, literally, like, and then be told that our business has grown past their expectations.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, I'll let you go. I know you got kids, got to get to bed. Keep me updated. Like I said, I'm over here in Saginaw County, Michigan, but we have a lot of businesses and things that'll be following this too, because like they said, if this could happen to you, it could happen to anybody.
yeah, and as a small farm, we're not a corn farm or a bean farm, but if you can shut down the pumpkin patch, can you go down and shut down the next farm or the next business? And something as simple as a municipal infraction to then the death penalty of a business to no longer do any revenue and sales, no warning, no chance for correction, you're just done. Like, and then you got to work and claw your way back out of something that ain't even right on your own sweat equity and